All right, let's get right into it. When you hear the words Indian monsoon, what comes to mind? Probably just rain, right? Well, it's so much more than that. We're talking about the literal pulse of an entire nation, a force of nature that shapes everything from the economy and culture to the daily lives of over 1 billion people. And this quote just nails it. The arrival of the monsoon isn't just a weather event, it's a celebration. It's this incredible collective sigh of relief from the scorching summer heat. It's woven into music, art, poetry, you name it. The entire subcontinent just holds its breath waiting for it. But behind all that cultural joy, there's a really stark economic truth. And that truth is this number, 64%. That's how much of India's population depends on agriculture for their livelihood. And that agriculture, it is almost completely at the mercy of the monsoon's rains. So here's what we're going to unpack. First, we'll see exactly why the monsoon is this life-giving pulse for the nation. Then, we'll get into the cool science behind what's called the Great Wind Reversal. After that, we'll look at the complex engine that makes it all work, explore how this lifeline is now seriously under threat, and finally, see how science is in a race to predict the unpredictable. Okay, so let's start with just how deep the monsoon's impact goes. We're not exaggerating when we call it an engine. It drives the rural economy, which in turn is a massive factor in the entire country's stability. There's a reason they often call Indian agriculture a monsoon-based gamble. I mean, look at the stakes. It's not just about watering crops for those millions of farmers. It's about refilling every river, lake, and reservoir that provides drinking water for cities and powers the country's hydroelectric dams. A good monsoon means economic growth. A bad one can mean disaster. It's that simple. So what is this thing really? At its heart, the monsoon is one of the most incredible, most dramatic shows nature puts on anywhere on Earth. It's a massive, seasonal, complete 180 of the winds. And the name itself actually gives us a big clue. It comes from the Arabic word masam, which just means season. And that's because ancient Arab traders who were sailing the Indian Ocean centuries ago figured it out. They realized the winds blew steadily from one direction for half the year, and then, like clockwork, they'd flip and blow from the complete opposite direction for the other half. And this is where it gets really interesting. The monsoon isn't just one thing. It kind of has two different personalities. The main event, the one everyone thinks about, is the southwest monsoon. That's from June to September. This is the big one, where moisture-filled winds sweep in from the sea, dumping about 75% of India's total annual rain. Then you have the retreat, the northeast monsoon. The winds totally reverse, blowing from the dry land out to sea, though it does bring some crucial rain to the southeast coast. Okay, so how in the world does a wind system that massive just flip? Well, it's not just one switch. Think of it more like a really complex engine with a bunch of interconnected parts that all have to work together in this incredibly delicate harmony. The main driver is actually pretty simple at its core. It's all about something called differential heating. In the summer, the huge Indian landmass just bakes in the sun, getting way hotter than the ocean next to it. This hot land creates this giant area of low pressure. And if there's one thing nature doesn't like, it's a vacuum. So cooler, high-pressure air from over the ocean, which is packed with moisture, just rushes in to fill that void. That rush of moist air, that is the monsoon. But wait, there's more. We have to introduce a major player in this whole drama, the Intertropical Convergence Zone, or ITCZ for short. The easiest way to think about it is as a global weather belt, this big band of low pressure that circles the Earth near the equator. It's where the trade winds from the north and the south all smash into each other. And the key thing to remember is this belt follows the sun. So, here's the kicker. During the Indian summer, as the sun moves north, this whole ITCZ belt migrates with it, parking itself right over the plains of northern India. This sets up what's called a monsoon trough, which acts like a gigantic atmospheric vacuum cleaner, powerfully sucking those moist winds all the way from the southern hemisphere, across the equator, and onto the subcontinent. All right, next up, we have an amplifier for our engine, the Tibetan Plateau. This thing is massive and high up. In the summer, it heats up like an enormous hot plate in the sky. This intense heat strengthens that low-pressure system even more, which in turn pulls the monsoon winds with even greater force, dragging them deeper and deeper into the continent. And finally, let's look way up in the atmosphere, at the jet streams. These are like fast-flowing rivers of air. During the winter, a strong westerly jet stream sits over northern India. But as summer heats up, that jet stream does something amazing. It jumps north,
over the Himalayas. That shift is like opening a massive door, which allows a whole different jet stream to form, an easterly one, and that helps trigger the dramatic burst of the monsoon onto the mainland.
So what we have is this beautiful, intricate, powerful system, one that's sustained a civilization for thousands of years. But now, that very lifeline is facing a massive threat because our changing climate is messing with its ancient rhythm. And this really is the most important question facing India today. What happens when the steady, predictable pulse that underpins your food, your water, your entire economy starts to beat out of time? And this is what that erratic beat looks like in reality. This data is stunning. Between 1950 and 2015, the frequency of extreme rainfall events, we're talking biblical-level downpours, in central India went up by a staggering 75%. So the problem isn't just more rain, it's the whole pattern. The monsoon is becoming a season of violent mood swings. We're seeing longer and more frequent dry spells, up 27%, broken by these terrifyingly intense deluges, where nearly half the season's rain can fall in just a day or two. This is the worst of both worlds. It leads to crippling droughts and devastating floods, sometimes in the exact same season. So, faced with this new, chaotic reality, the challenge becomes crystal clear. How on earth do you predict a system that seems to be rewriting its own rules? Well, this is where science is stepping up in a huge way. And you've got to see this. The progress is genuinely incredible. For the last 4 years straight, the India Meteorological Department has been spot on with its big seasonal forecasts. I mean, they're predicting the total rainfall within just a few percentage points. This isn't just good science. It's absolutely vital information that helps everyone from farmers to water managers plan for what's coming. And India isn't stopping there. They're doubling down with something called Mission MOSUM. It's this super ambitious plan to become weather-ready and climate-smart. It's the whole shebang. Better radars and satellites, next-gen computer models using AI and machine learning, all to not just predict the weather, but to build systems that help people on the grounds make smarter decisions in this new reality. And that brings us to the final and most important question. The science is getting better, no doubt, but the monsoon's ancient rhythm has been fundamentally altered. So the real challenge now isn't just about forecasting the rain. It's about how an entire nation, its culture, its economy, and 1.4 billion people can adapt and learn to live with the new, unpredictable heartbeat of their oldest lifeline.